I spent one night at the world's most haunted cabin. I should have burned the tapes the moment I saw what was on them, but I didn't. I watched, and then I watched again. It was me on the screen, except I don't remember saying any of those things. I don't remember the blood, or the screaming, or what was standing behind me. It started with a challenge: one night, one camera, alone in a cabin that locals call cursed. No cell service, no backup, just me, the trees, and whatever still lives in that house. I went in laughing. I came out 5 hours later, missing 3 fingernails and a memory I don't want back. The road up to the cabin wasn't on any map. I had to cross-reference 3 different forums, a decommissioned forestry document from the 1970s, and a YouTube video that had less than 200 views just to find the coordinates. Even then, the last half mile was pure guesswork. My truck could barely handle the incline. Trees leaned in over the path like they were trying to hide what lay ahead. No signs, no fences, just a rusted gate with a chain that had been cut long ago. The hinges still held the shape of resistance, like they didn't want to open for me. By the time I stepped out of the truck, the air had gone unnaturally still. Not quiet, still. No wind, no birds, no insects. Just that charged silence you get before a lightning storm. I felt watched before I even hit record. I kept the camera low as I walked. The forest here didn't sound like the others I'd filmed in. The silence wasn't emptiness. It was suppressed noise, like something was muting the world around it. Every step I took felt too loud, like I was violating something. When the cabin finally came into view, I stopped breathing for a second. It didn't look abandoned. It looked preserved. The wood was old, but not rotting. The porch was intact. The windows weren't broken. There were boot prints on the steps, fresh. No sign of wildlife, not even cobwebs in the corners. I panned the camera slowly across the clearing, noting how the trees bent slightly away from the structure, like they were leaning back in fear. My own shadow felt longer here. There was a subtle hum beneath my feet, a low vibration that made the hair on my arms stand up. It wasn't sound, it was pressure. Inside the cabin, it smelled like cedar and iron. Not mold, not decay. Just dry wood and something metallic underneath. There was a single room, a fireplace, a table, 2 chairs, and a 7-foot mirror bolted to the far wall, cracked diagonally from top right to bottom left. I checked the time, 3:47 p.m., still light out. I did an intro for the video, spoke to the camera with the usual mix of sarcasm and curiosity, explained where I was and what I planned to do, set up static cams, take EMF readings, and sleep until dawn. Standard haunted cabin protocol. I placed a small light in the corner and moved slowly through the room with the handheld cam. I tested the floorboards for hidden compartments. Nothing. Tapped on the walls, counted the echo. Everything felt normal, a little too normal. At 4:15, the first knock came, 3 soft taps from inside the cabin. I was filming the fireplace at the time. The sound came from the opposite wall, the one with the mirror. I froze, rewound the footage. The knock wasn't on the audio, but I had heard it. I even marked the moment on my notebook. The timestamp showed 4:15 and 17 seconds. I approached the mirror. My reflection stared back, warped slightly by the crack. I raised my hand. The reflection did the same. Then I stepped to the side, and for a split second I saw something behind me. Not a figure, not a face, just the impression of presence, like static in the air, something gray and angular. When I turned, there was nothing there. The cabin creaked and my camera glitched, screen tearing for a half second before returning to normal. That footage didn't save. The file corrupted the moment I stopped recording. I checked the memory card. The thumbnail was there, but the video length read 0 seconds. By 5 p.m., the temperature inside had dropped by 10 degrees, even though the fire I lit was roaring. My breath fogged. I went outside to check the weather. Clear sky. Still. Warmer. I stood out there for a minute trying to rationalize it. Altitude change, humidity shift, but it didn't add up. I walked the perimeter of the cabin. That's when I noticed the carvings. Etched into the base of each exterior wall were symbols, worn and almost invisible. Circles intersected by sharp triangles and what looked like crude representations of eyes. Not pagan, not native, nothing I recognized. They repeated every 6 feet, always paired with what looked like a handprint. Small hands, like a child's. Some looked smeared like they were pressed in blood, or mud, or worse. I counted 18. One was beneath the front porch, far newer than the rest. I filmed it all. My battery dropped from 83% to 9 in under 4 minutes. The replacement battery didn't last longer. I was down to one handheld GoPro and my body cam. At 6:20, the light started dying fast. I went back inside and set up my cot. Ate a protein bar, reviewed footage, tried to speak to the camera, but my voice cracked halfway through. I was starting to feel disoriented. Time felt weird, like the hours were stretching. That's when the second knock came. Same pattern, 3 taps. But this time, it came from the ceiling. I aimed the flashlight upward. Nothing but old rafters, no attic, just beams. I climbed on the chair and tapped back. 3 knocks, silence, 3 knocks again. Then, nothing. When I looked at the mirror, my reflection had its hand raised. I did not. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because I needed it to be. My brain started filing it all under tricks of light, fatigue, even audio hallucination. I'd been filming all day, hadn't eaten properly. My blood sugar was probably crashing. That's what I told myself. The mirror had to be the culprit. Mirrors reflect sound strangely sometimes, right? And maybe I had raised my hand. Maybe I just forgot. Maybe I was psyching myself out. The human brain looks for patterns, especially when it's alone in unfamiliar territory. I turned the camera back on and did a quick recap. Voice a little shaky, but I held it together. The script helped. Familiar words, the usual skeptical tone. It gave me something to grip. I talked about the carvings, the cold, the malfunctioning batteries. I even joked about how creepy kids always show up in horror stories. Still, I couldn't bring myself to look directly at the mirror again. Every time I caught it in my peripheral vision, I had this gut-deep feeling that something else was watching, waiting. And it wasn't in the mirror, it was behind it. Not in the way people talk about haunted mirrors. I mean physically behind it. Like there was a hollow cavity in the wall, like something was crouched in it. At 7:08, I heard something fall outside. Not a knock, a crash, something heavy. I grabbed the flashlight and the GoPro and stepped onto the porch. The air was heavier now, not colder, thicker, like walking into fog that you couldn't see. My boot hit something on the steps, a jar, old cloudy glass with what looked like dried herbs and hair inside. The label was gone, but something sticky had melted down the side. It reeked, metallic and sour. The smell reminded me of something I couldn't place, a basement from childhood maybe, or a hospital waiting room. The jar hadn't been there before. I swept the area with the light. Nothing. But the trees felt closer. Not figuratively, I mean actually. Like the clearing was shrinking. Back inside, I checked my bag. I always bring protective items. I don't believe in ghosts, but I do believe in rituals. A little salt, iron nail, St. Benedict medal. My salt had spilled. The entire bag was soaked. Not damp, soaked. And my backup camera. Cracked screen, dead battery. I hadn't even taken it out yet. Something had been in my bag, or I had done it. That thought crept in like a splinter. What if I was having a breakdown? I hadn't slept more than 5 hours total in the last 2 nights prepping this trip. I tried calling out, just a simple, "Hello?" It sounded small in the cabin, swallowed, like the walls were too thick, too close. I checked the mirror again. My reflection wasn't centered anymore. I moved left. It didn't. I moved right. It lagged behind. I turned off all the lights and sat still, just listening. The fire cracked. The wind didn't exist. Then I heard it, scratching. Not on the walls, under the floorboards. Slow, circular scratching like nails against dry wood. It moved from one corner to the other, then stopped. I went to the floor, pressed my ear to it. Nothing. I tapped the GoPro on and narrated, trying to sound calm. Then the third knock came, and this time it came from beneath the floor. I jumped back, and the floor creaked beneath me. I pressed my camera against the wood. The knock came again, closer to the center of the room this time. I pried up a floorboard with the corner of the broken camera, just an inch, just enough to slide the GoPro into the dark. I recorded 60 seconds of darkness. When I pulled it back out and checked the footage, there was something in the corner of the screen, a shape. It moved, barely, but it moved. The room was spinning. I closed the board, hammered it back down with a flashlight, and backed away. My ears were ringing. I felt heat crawling up the back of my neck. I opened the front door to get some air and found the jar again, but it was upright this time, and it was warm. I didn't sleep. I couldn't, not after what I saw under the floor. I kept the fire alive even when the smoke began to sting my eyes. I sat with my back to the mirror and my face to the door, like a soldier waiting out an ambush. Every creak of the cabin felt personal, like the house was breathing through the walls. Even the shadows felt thicker, like they weren't just absence of light, they were occupied. Around 3:30 a.m., the scratching started again. This time, not under the floor. It was coming from inside the walls, the same pattern, slow, methodical circles. I thought about tearing the boards down, but didn't. I didn't want to see what I already knew was there. I wrapped a blanket around my shoulders and waited for morning. I didn't blink much. I didn't dare. At sunrise, the noise stopped. A sudden silence, almost ceremonial. I waited another hour before moving. Outside, the jar was gone, not smashed, just vanished, like it had never been there, like it was only there when the dark allowed it to be. The grass where it sat was damp and curled inwards, as if something had sucked the warmth right out of it. I needed daylight, not just to calm down, but to explore, to investigate. I circled the cabin again, determined to find something, anything that would anchor me to reality. That's when I noticed a warped plank near the rear wall that wasn't there the day before. It was bowed outward slightly, as though something had pushed from the inside. Behind it, I found something that shouldn't have been there. A latch. Hidden in the base of the exterior wall, nearly buried under a thick patch of moss. I pulled it, expecting resistance. It opened like it had been waiting. A hinged panel groaned upward to reveal a crawl space no taller than 2 feet. The air that drifted out was cold, stale, and foul, like old meat and burnt plastic. But beneath that there was something else, a floral scent, almost sweet, like rotting perfume. I slid inside with the GoPro, no room to turn, just one long, narrow tunnel under the cabin, dirt floor, wooden supports, and something scratched into the beams every few feet. She watches, over and over again, in different handwritings, some neat, others frantic, some small, like from a child, others large and bold. On one beam the words were upside down, like someone had carved them while lying on their back. At the end of the crawl space was a box, old, metal, padlocked shut. The edges were rusted, but the lock was shiny, new. Someone had been here not long ago, but next to it, buried shallow in the earth, was a small burlap sack. I didn't want to open it, but I had to. Inside were 2 things, a roll of 8mm film and a photograph, water damaged but still legible. It showed a woman standing in the doorway of the cabin. Her face was a blur, not because of the damage, because it had been scratched out, deeply, repeatedly, like someone wanted her erased, or feared what her face might reveal. The back of the photo had a date, July 12, 1966, and one sentence, "She is not gone." I took the film back inside, wrapped it carefully. I don't have a reel-to-reel player, but I recognized the smell. Vinegar syndrome. The film was decomposing. If I wanted to save it, I'd have to digitize it fast. I sat on the cot, staring at the picture. The woman's dress looked hand-sewn, the kind of thing worn in the early 1900s. But the date didn't match. And something about the cabin behind her, it looked identical to how it is now. No decay, same mirror in the background, same angle, like the photo had been taken last week. I scanned every inch of the image. Trees, shadows, doorframe. And then, as I turned the picture in the light, something else appeared. A second face, faint, peeking out from the mirror behind her. It was smaller than hers, pale, eyes too wide, mouth open just slightly, like it was whispering. That's when I heard my name. Not shouted, whispered from inside the mirror, and this time I answered. I packed my things at dawn. Not to leave. I already knew the road wouldn't let me. It wasn't a feeling. It was a fact. The same way you know a fire is hot before touching it. I just knew. Still, I told myself I was staying to document more, that I needed more footage, needed to finish what I started. Lies help when the truth starts looking back at you. I made coffee. Instant. Bitter. It grounded me for a moment. I sat on the front step, pretending I didn't hear the door creak open behind me on its own. The light outside was strange, golden but dim, like sunset filtered through nicotine-stained glass. The trees no longer rustled, they loomed. My plan was to upload the film footage once I got home, but something gnawed at me. What if the answers weren't waiting on a screen, but inside the cabin itself? I turned the photo over again. The scratches on the woman's face hadn't faded overnight. In fact, they seemed deeper, more deliberate. When I ran my fingers over them, I felt heat. I texted my friend Jamie. She helped with the post-production on my channel and usually fact-checked local law. No service. I tried again an hour later. Nothing. I walked the perimeter with my phone raised like a divining rod. Still nothing. Then my phone buzzed. One bar, a single text loaded. From Jamie. Do not stay. No context. No follow-up. Just those 3 words. I stared at the screen, waiting for it to load more, but the signal vanished. I tried calling, straight to voicemail. I opened our last messages. They were gone. All of them. Not deleted, just missing. The entire thread blank. I felt sick. Not in the stomach, in my bones. Something old, cellular. Like my blood knew I was being watched. I turned around and saw nothing but trees, but I counted them anyway. One too many. That's when I remembered the reflection. I bolted back inside and grabbed the mirror with both hands. My own face stared back at me. Normal, shaken, but mine. I moved left. It followed. Right. Same. But something was off. I blinked. The reflection didn't. My heart kicked against my ribs. I backed away slowly. The reflection stood still. Then it raised its hand, slow, steady, but I hadn't moved. I dropped the blanket that had been over my shoulders. The reflection didn't. I turned and ran. Outside again, panting, I circled the cabin, not sure what I was looking for. A reset button, a way to wake up. Instead, I found a second jar, smaller than the first, buried halfway in the dirt like an offering. Inside was a tooth, human, yellowed. There was something scratched into the glass. Debt. I looked up. All the trees now leaned inward, not just toward the cabin, toward me. I felt them watching. The pressure in my head intensified like altitude sickness. My ears popped. I heard my name again, this time not whispered, spoken, from inside the cabin. I went back in, slowly, flashlight shaking. My gear was scattered, cables unplugged, the cot overturned, my laptop screen flickered. It had turned itself on. The desktop background was replaced by the photo of the woman, the one I found in the crawl space. But now she was smiling, and her face was no longer scratched out. She looked like Jamie. The smile was wrong, too wide, too still. I moved the cursor. It lagged, clicked the folder with the footage. It was empty. Then the screen flashed. Black. Then static. Then a video started playing on its own. It was me, standing in the cabin, holding something in my hands. A knife. I wasn't speaking, but my lips were moving. Behind me, in the mirror, was a figure. Tall. Faceless, the reflection was clear. I paused the video. Or tried to, it wouldn't stop. That's when I noticed the timestamp. The footage was dated tomorrow. I didn't leave the cabin that day. I couldn't. Every time I approached the door, the air seemed to thicken. Not just emotionally, physically, like the house itself was holding its breath, waiting to see what I'd do. I unplugged the laptop, wrapped the film reel in my sweatshirt and shoved it into my bag, but I didn't know why. There was nowhere to go, and nothing about the world outside the cabin felt real anymore. The forest wasn't just surrounding me, it was folding in on me, like it wanted me to stay. Around noon, the whispers started, not clear, not words, just movement in the air that carried intention. It came from the corners, from the cracks in the walls. I set up the last working GoPro and let it roll while I tried to journal what had happened, but the words wouldn't come. My handwriting changed halfway through the page. It slanted differently. Letters formed in ways I hadn't used since I was a kid. The name Eleanor appeared 3 times, though I don't know anyone by that name. I filmed myself talking, trying to stay calm. I asked questions aloud. What is this place? Who is she? What does she want? Then I played the footage back. In the playback, my voice was gone. Not muted, not corrupted, just silence. And under that silence, a second track. Slowed down audio of someone breathing, then humming. A melody I recognized but couldn't place. Lullaby slow, sharp at the end, like a blade being drawn. I used to hum that tune in kindergarten. Where did I learn it? The mirror reflected the footage wrong. When I looked at the monitor, normal. But in the mirror, the screen showed me standing still, staring at the wall, even when I moved. Worse, in the mirrored version, my eyes were black. I turned to the fireplace. The ash was rearranged. Letters. A name. Jamie. I ran outside, desperate to ground myself in the physical world, but everything was wrong. The clearing was smaller than before, the trees closer, the sun was too low for the time of day. I heard water, a slow drip, but there was no stream nearby. Then I saw the figure, standing just at the edge of the trees. Female, still, head tilted, her arms hung at her sides like they were dislocated. I shouted, no response. I took a step forward. She mirrored it, backward. I stepped left, she stepped right. Perfect inversion. Not like someone copying, like someone reflecting. I turned to grab the camera. When I looked back, she was gone. No footprints, no sound. Just that sweet, rotten scent in the air again. Back inside, the footage from earlier had been replaced. The SD card now had only one file. July 12/1966 MP4. I hit play. The video showed a room, not the cabin, a hospital, or maybe an asylum, everything yellowed and slow. A woman screaming, tied to a bed, her face obscured, nurses running. Then the camera turned and it was me filming, except it wasn't. The person holding the camera was humming, the same melody. I tried to stop the video. The keyboard didn't respond. I pulled the battery. The screen stayed on. Then everything turned black. And in the mirror, the figure was standing behind me. She whispered, "You're late." I blinked and the power cut out. Complete silence. Then the cabin door slowly creaked open, by itself. The moment the door creaked open, I didn't move. Not because I was frozen with fear, but because something told me if I moved, I wouldn't be the one moving. It was quiet for a long time after that. The kind of silence that has weight. The kind that presses into your eardrums until you start hearing phantom sounds. Your own heartbeat, the blood in your neck, the whisper of your thoughts turning against you. I sat on the floor and watched the door slowly inch open, centimeter by centimeter, like it was savoring the gesture. No wind, no hinges snapping, just invitation. Behind it, only dark. I didn't go to it. I don't think I could have if I tried. My legs didn't feel like mine. My hands were shaking so hard the flashlight flickered against the wall like a strobe. When I finally stood up, I knocked over the chair beside me and didn't even flinch. I turned on every light source I had. Headlamp, emergency lantern, even lit the fire again. The flames burned blue. The air inside the cabin felt different now. Stagnant, chemical, like I was breathing something that didn't want to be in my lungs. I cracked a window. The outside air didn't come in. No breeze. Just blackness. Like the world had been erased. I opened my laptop to check the time. The clock read 3:33 a.m. It had read 3:33 a.m. an hour ago. I pulled out my backup watch. Same time. My phone, long dead, suddenly turned on. Battery at 66%. Same time. The cabin wasn't just isolated now, it was cut off, removed, existing on a loop inside something else, a boundary I had unknowingly crossed. I tried leaving. I grabbed my gear, stepped outside, and walked. I walked straight for what felt like an hour. I marked trees as I went, left small stacks of rocks, anything to track my path. Eventually, I saw light ahead. The cabin. I had circled back without turning. The rocks I stacked were gone. I went back inside. There were more ashes in the fireplace than I had left, and another jar on the windowsill. This one had a torn piece of cloth inside. It looked like a strip from the shirt I was wearing. I didn't remember tearing it. The mirrors, not just the main one now, but every reflective surface, began to show things that weren't there. The metal on my flashlight, my laptop screen, even the glossy finish of my camera lens. I saw movement that wasn't mine. Smiles that didn't match my expression. At one point I saw a child crouched in the corner behind me, only in the reflection. When I turned, nothing. But the floor was warm. I stopped filming, not because I didn't want to, because the camera refused. It would power on, beep, and then shut off. One time it recorded, I played it back and saw myself sleeping, peacefully. Except I hadn't slept. I tried talking to myself out loud, trying to hear something human in the room. I asked questions. What do you want? What did I do? Are you real? Only one answer came back. My own voice, but not through my mouth. It came through the walls, repeating one word: stay. I lost time. I found myself in the crawl space again, without memory of how I got there. My clothes were wet, my feet muddy. The metal box was open now. Inside it was a diary, small, leather, wrapped in twine. The name on the front was Eleanor Whitmore. The first page said, "If you found this, it means I'm still here." I stared at the name on the cover, Eleanor Whitmore. My breath felt heavier as I read it aloud. It echoed not just through the cabin, but inside me, like something old and buried was waking up. The diary pages were yellow, but intact. The writing spanned decades, not days. Page after page, date after date, like someone trapped in a loop. Every entry began the same. He said I had to stay. The early entries described isolation. Eleanor, a schoolteacher who came to the mountains in 1909 to escape a scandal. She rented the hunting cabin from a friend of her father's. There were no mentions of hauntings at first. Only peace, birds, rivers, quiet. But then the entries changed, fast. April 17th, 1910. I saw someone in the trees. She looked like me. April 19th, 1910. My reflection isn't following me anymore. May 3rd, 1910. There is a man who visits in dreams. He brings a mirror with no glass. He calls it the gate. Over time, the writing grew frantic. Ink smudged, sentences overlapping. Some entries were written backwards, others were just names, hundreds of them. I saw mine, twice. Some pages were blank, not empty, blank. The texture was wrong, like they were burned clean. I kept reading. June 12th, 1910. He says if I write the truth, they won't let me go. June 13th, 1910. She is not me, but she wears my voice. Then something worse. June 14th, 1910. Someone is coming, a man with a camera. He will read this. If you are him, please run. I slammed the diary shut. Outside, wind picked up for the first time in hours, but it didn't move the trees. It came from beneath the house. I turned on every light, checked every window. The reflection in the mirror was gone. Gone. I stepped toward it. Only wall, no image, no light bouncing back. Then the glass cracked. A thin line at first, then a branch of fractures across the surface, from the center out, like something inside had struck it. The mirror began to pulse, not shake, pulse, breathing with a rhythm too steady to be random. Then the sound came, children whispering, Hundreds of voices, layered, repeating one phrase. She told. She told. She told. My ears rang. I grabbed the diary, the bag, and backed toward the door. But the door was gone. Where it had been was now just wall, seamless wood, no hinges, no knob, no exit. I turned back to the mirror. It now reflected a room I had never seen. White walls, rust-colored stains on the floor, chains bolted into stone, and her, Eleanor, standing at the far end, holding something, a strip of cloth. My shirt. She looked older than in the photo, hollow, like she had been scraped out and filled with shadow. But her eyes were mine. The diary fell open in my hands. A new page had been written. We are the same now. Finish this, and I will be free. I felt cold grip my spine, not air, not spirit, the kind of cold that rewrites memory. I suddenly remembered being here before, not last night, years ago. I remembered carving a name into the beam beneath the bed, mine. I don't know how long I stood there, staring at the diary. It felt like time no longer moved in straight lines, like minutes wrapped back onto themselves and formed knots in my mind. I read that sentence again and again. We are the same now. Finish this, and I will be free. I asked myself the only question that mattered. Finish what? The mirror still pulsed like a lung. The cabin breathed with it, and I finally realized the truth. I was being asked to choose, not between leaving or staying, not between sanity or madness, between one truth and another. There was something sacred about the silence that followed. I could feel Eleanor's presence in the corners of the room, watching, waiting, not as a ghost, not anymore, but as something suspended, caught between memory and manifestation. I opened the diary again, looking for clues. The next page was blank, but I could see faint imprints from pressure. Words had been written, then erased. I shaded the page with the edge of a burnt matchstick. A message appeared. Write it down. I was holding the pen before I knew it. My hands weren't mine anymore. I started writing, not thinking, not processing, just recording. A story flowed from me, and I realized with a chill that it wasn't fiction. I was writing my own memories, memories I didn't know I had. I wrote about arriving at the cabin when I was a teenager, about hearing the name Eleanor long before this trip, about coming back, about losing time, and about hurting someone. I stopped, dropped the pen. The air shifted. The mirror cracked again, this time running top to bottom. A sliver of light burst from the center, like it had split open a wound. Through it I saw flashes, not scenes but sensations. The weight of cold chains, the sting of fire, screaming, always the screaming, but never mine. I picked up the diary again, flipping forward. There were pages now that hadn't been there before, and they weren't in my handwriting. They were from Jamie. He doesn't remember, one said. The cabin makes them forget, until it wants them to choose. And then, it needs someone to stay, or someone to take her place. I dropped the book like it burned. This was the choice. It wasn't about solving anything, it was about balance. Eleanor wasn't trapped. She was tethered, and she needed me to cut the line, to replace her, or to bring someone else. Suddenly, I remembered Jamie asking about this trip, offering to come, insisting even. I had told her no, had laughed it off, but she had come anyway. I remembered now. Her car, parked just down the trail, her voice on the first night. But she was gone now, or here. The mirror flickered again. This time I saw two people in the reflection, me and someone behind me. Jamie. But she didn't look afraid. She looked empty. She reached forward. Her reflection's hand pressed against mine. I couldn't feel it, but I felt something pass between us, like a string tightening. The diary fell open one more time. Final page. One stays, one forgets, one tells. I was being asked to choose. Walk into the mirror, take Eleanor's place, free Jamie, rewrite the loop, or leave, and forget, again, or tell the world, break the cycle, and let what lived here go free. None of the options felt like survival. I chose to run. It wasn't bravery, it wasn't logic, it was raw instinct. The part of you that says no matter what deals are on the table, you don't bargain with mirrors. You don't trust a house that breathes. You don't choose anything inside a trap. You just get out. I grabbed the diary and the bag, shoved the cracked GoPro into my coat and kicked through the spot where the door had once been. This time the wall cracked open, like it had been waiting to let me try. Outside, the trees were wrong. They weren't just closer, they were rearranged, like the forest had reassembled itself while I was inside. The trail no longer existed. There were no stars overhead, just sky, flat, matte black, like someone had painted it out. I walked. I didn't look back. I kept my eyes ahead and recited names under my breath, Eleanor, Jamie, mine, over and over like they were spells that could hold my identity together. The forest didn't respond, but it shifted. I came upon a clearing that hadn't been there before. In the center was a circle of stones, inside it burned grass, and on top of that another jar. This one had something unmistakable in it, an eye, human, floating in black fluid, and pressed to the side of the glass was something scratched in reverse, meant to be read through the curve. Not yours. I dropped it, ran. I stumbled for what felt like hours. My legs burned, my lungs tore at the cold, and then a light. Faint, distant, but real. A road. I hit the asphalt on my knees. A car appeared, headlights cutting through the trees like salvation. I ran into the road, waving, screaming. The car swerved and stopped. The driver got out. It was Jamie, but not Jamie. Her hair was wet. Her clothes were ones I had packed. Her voice came out in echoes. You came back. I ran, again, this time into the woods. But I didn't get far. A searing pain shot through my head, and I collapsed. When I opened my eyes, I was back in the cabin, back on the floor alone. The mirror was whole again, no cracks, just a smooth surface, showing me curled in a ball. I checked the diary. The last page was gone. The clock read 3:33 a.m. Again. I stood up, knees shaking, and walked to the mirror. My reflection followed, everything matched, except behind my reflection, standing by the fireplace, was a woman, Eleanor, and beside her, Jamie. Their eyes were closed, their mouths opened in sync. You chose. I reached out, touched the mirror, cold, solid. Then it gave way. The glass didn't shatter, it dissolved. One moment, it was solid. The next, it was vapor, cold and thick, curling around my arm like smoke from a dying fire. My hand went through the mirror, and so did the rest of me. There was no resistance, no wall, no threshold, just a shift. Like I blinked and the cabin was gone. I was standing in a hallway. Not the cabin, not the woods. A hallway without corners. It stretched in every direction, but every turn brought me back to the same place. A door at the end, lit by a swaying light. The air was wet and metallic. The walls were padded. I smelled iodine, sweat, and something else. Ozone, electricity, or fear. I walked. No matter how far I moved, the door never got closer. Until it did. I reached for the handle, and the moment I touched it, my ears rang like a siren. My vision flashed white. And suddenly, I was inside a room. It was a hospital room, but it wasn't modern. The equipment was rusted. The bed sheets yellowed. There were stains on the walls. The windows had been bricked over. A single light flickered above the bed, where someone sat upright, motionless. It was Eleanor, older, weathered, her eyes sunken but sharp. She turned her head slowly, and when she saw me, she smiled. It was a smile that didn't match the face, a gesture stitched on by something that didn't understand how to be human. "You made it," she said. Her voice came from behind me. I turned and saw her again. Another Eleanor, younger, more alive. Her hair was matted but clean. She looked sad. "You don't belong here," she whispered. I looked back. The bed was empty. The room was empty. Everything flickered. Then the walls began to breathe. I saw faces in the brick, dozens of them pushing from the inside, pressed lips, closed eyes. Some screamed in silence, others watched, still. The light overhead popped. A shriek echoed through the room, but not through my ears, through my teeth, my spine. It came from inside. The hallway returned. So did the door. But now it was open. Inside was not a room. It was a cavern, endless, pulsing, alive. The walls were flesh. The floor was bone. And in the center stood something tall, thin, wrapped in a shroud of mirrors. The monster. It had no face, it had no voice. But it spoke. It spoke through reflections, through the warped glass floating around it like moons. Each one showed a version of me, smiling, screaming, dead, killing. Behind them, Eleanor's face appeared in pieces, then Jamie's, then a child's, a woman I didn't know, my mother. The mirrors cracked. It didn't need to move. It was already in me. I stepped back. It stepped forward without stepping. The room closed in, the floor rose. I felt my bones vibrating, my teeth hurt. I screamed, and the scream wasn't mine. The monster didn't reach for me. It turned itself inside out. It made me remember things I never lived. I saw Eleanor carving symbols into wood, Jamie walking into the woods, myself holding the knife, stabbing the floor, laughing. I was always here, it said. I was always you. The mirrors exploded. Darkness took everything. And I woke up. In the cabin, lying on the floor. Alone. The mirror intact. I opened my eyes expecting the mirror. But it was gone. The cabin was quiet. Too quiet. There were no creaks, no wind outside, no crackle from the fireplace. The kind of silence that feels like it's waiting. I sat up. The diary lay closed beside me, though I didn't remember dropping it. My camera was off, my laptop was gone, and my clothes were dry, though I remembered being soaked in sweat or blood. The clock still read 3:33 a.m. I stood slowly, testing my balance. Something was wrong with gravity. The floor tilted slightly, or my body was off kilter. My joints moved, but I felt a drag, like something had shifted inside me, a delay between thought and motion. I looked at my reflection in the dark window. It blinked slower than I did. I reached for the diary, but it snapped shut on its own. The room trembled, not violently, but rhythmically, the same breath as before. Only this time, it was mine. I realized I was breathing in sync with the house. A knock came at the door. 3 taps. I didn't move. I knew better now. The door wouldn't open. It would reveal. And what it revealed might be me. Another knock. Then silence. I sat down, back against the mirror, and waited. Then I heard something new. Not from outside, not from the walls, from within. Laughter. A child's laugh. Warm, innocent, repeating. It circled the room. Then another sound layered under it, muffled crying, then humming. Always the humming. I covered my ears. It didn't help. I screamed, and someone else's voice came out. The sound stopped. My breath caught. I stood again and walked to the center of the room. It felt like the floor was pulsing beneath me, a heartbeat. I lifted the rug. Beneath it, burned into the floor, was the same symbol I'd seen etched around the cabin. Circles, triangles, a single slit eye at the center. It was glowing, and I remembered. I remembered drawing it. Not last night. Years ago. In another version of this house. In another life. It wasn't just a haunting. It wasn't just Eleanor. It was something older. The cabin wasn't built to protect from it. The cabin was built to feed it, to echo it, to record. I saw flashes of every person who had entered this place, all of them becoming someone else, all of them transformed, a cycle, a ritual, a machine disguised as wood and nails. The mirror returned, not on the wall, but in my mind. Every time I blinked, I saw it. Every time I looked away, it followed. My reflection changed with every heartbeat. Once I was Eleanor, once I was Jamie, once I was the one holding the camera while the others begged to forget. This place didn't kill you. It broke you open and let something else in. I reached for the knife, there wasn't one, but I had brought something. My phone, dead, but intact. I turned the camera on. One last time. I aimed it at the mirror, at myself, at the symbol, at everything. And I spoke. This is not a story. It's a recording, a loop, a wound that remembers. If you're seeing this, it's already inside you. The light blew out, and I became quiet. I don't remember leaving. I only remember waking up 3 days later on the side of a highway, 26 miles from the cabin. A trucker found me. I didn't know my name at first, couldn't speak, couldn't blink without seeing that mirror, that breath, that version of myself that never came back out. The hospital ran tests, dehydration, mild hypothermia. Blood work showed irregularities they couldn't explain, sleep deprivation, disassociation. They let me go. They shouldn't have. Jamie's car was found 3 days after that, abandoned, keys still in the ignition, her phone on the passenger seat. The last photo she took, blurry, dark but unmistakable, was of me. Standing at the tree line, not facing her. She hasn't been found. I tried to explain. I tried to give them the footage, but it was gone. Every file corrupted. My backups deleted. Cloud accounts emptied. Only one remained, one clip, 6 minutes long. I don't remember filming it. It's me, in the cabin, speaking softly, directly into the lens. I say things I've never said aloud. Childhood secrets, shame, regret. Things only I would know, things I swore I'd never tell. And at the end of the video I smile, not my smile. I moved away, I changed numbers, deleted social media. But people still find me. Paranormal investigators, podcast hosts, curious strangers. They want to know what happened. Some say the cabin is real, some say it's a hoax, a story meant to scare people into watching longer. But every now and then, I get an envelope in the mail, no return address. Inside, a photo. A cabin, always different, but always the same layout, always the same symbol burned into the doorway. Last week, I got another. This one had a photo of me, sleeping, in my new apartment. No camera could have taken it. Sometimes I dream of the mirror. Sometimes I wake up speaking in voices I don't recognize. Last month I tried to film myself sleeping. I woke up to find the camera smashed and the footage replaced with static and humming. Same melody. Always that melody. I no longer wonder if I brought something back. I know I did. Or maybe I never left. Maybe I'm still in the cabin, still sitting on that floor, imagining a future that never came. Maybe this is the loop. Maybe you're part of it now. Because if you're hearing this, it means the story made it out. It means the cabin opened its door again. And it means it's looking for someone else. Be careful what you click. Some windows don't close. Some mirrors don't reflect. And some stories don't end. If you've seen anything like this, heard the melody, found the symbol, remembered things you never lived, leave a comment. I need to know I'm not the only one. If the story feels familiar, it probably is. Share this before the mirror forgets you.